and welcome to Notes to My Daughter. Today I am with my lovely daughter.
Ndego.
Well, as usual, the music you heard at the beginning was Ndego playing the harp. Ndego, can you tell us a little bit more about what you were playing?
Okay, so the piece is called Interlude by T.C. Kelly, and this is probably obviously not my first piece that I've ever played on the harp. However, it's one that I think probably the first one which I've memorized. No, the first one that I've memorized to the point where even if I don't play it for years, I can just be like, oh, I want to play this piece, and then just maybe a few goes on it and I've got it again. And a big reason to that is because I love that piece. It's so beautiful. And when I was deciding, okay, what should I play, I wanted to match it kind of with what we will be talking about later. But then it just occurred to me, okay, you can do this piece because if a lot of you know, like a lot of you who have heard me play the harp, you probably have heard me play this piece before. Because I've known it since sometime in secondary school. I don't know. I think it was when I was doing my grade 6. That's when I had to learn this piece, and I can't tell you when I did my grade 6. Maybe year 10. I'm not sure. I don't know. Do you know, Mom?
Can't remember.
Yeah, well,
it's like a long time ago.
It was like eons ago, but yeah. So whenever someone's like, "Oh, just play something quickly," I feel like that's the go-to piece that I choose, and why not play this piece as one of the first episodes for this? So yeah, and after choosing that, I was wondering, okay, which part of the piece would be a good part to play or to show, and I actually wanted to do the middle section, but then I kept on messing up, so I just chose the beginning. But the second section is so beautiful, and there's so much build up, so much tension in like the music of it. It's just really exciting, but also the first part of it is very beautiful, so I went with the first part. Yeah, but my mom can tell you how many times that I've played this piece. I played it for my end of year recital for my 3rd year actually, and I ended on it. And I remember I got feedback from the person who marked it, and he was like, "It's a bit odd that you ended with an interlude, because an interlude is supposed to be in the middle, but you couldn't really fault it because it's like the best piece, So I was like, whatever. But yeah, no, I really love this piece, and I think everyone who has heard me play the harp, they've probably heard me play this piece before.
So it's a very familiar piece for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a very familiar piece and so comforting, and it's quite fun to play actually. A lot of pieces that I'll play, I'll be dreading it because there's just too many like difficult passages with my fingers, but it's quite comfortable. And yeah, so because there's a lot of arpeggios. Should I explain what an arpeggio is? Well, an arpeggio is like when you like play a note and then you skip the next one and you play the one after that. It's like thirds basically. Yeah, I don't know if I explained that right, and I'm sorry to all my music friends who think that was a very bad explanation. But, yes, anyways, I'm talking too much, but yes.
And I think another thing that I'll say is that, so when Ndego started playing the harp, which was probably when you were like 6, 7, I can't remember. No? Yeah, 6, 7?
I've always said like 8, 7. I don't know. I don't even remember.
Because you started playing with the violin initially.
Yes.
And then you went.
I wish I still played the violin. It's okay.
Yeah. And then you moved to the harp, and she started playing the lever harp. So the difference is that the one that she's played now is called the pedal harp. So you change the keys with your feet.
Yeah, so you can change whether a note is flat or neutral or sharp with the pedals, and like each note A to G. A to G has a pedal.
Yeah, and however from her initial grade to her 8th grade, she was playing the lever harp, which is basically where you have the lever at the top of the harp, as opposed to the pedals. And so you've taken this because when you did it in grade 6, you used the lever harp, right? And then now you've basically been able to you brought it now to the pedal harp.
Yeah.
So and I still love to hear them, both ways. And it's still one of my favorite pieces, especially that middle part that I like very, very much.
Yes, that's why.
Next time you need to play that. Actually.
Honestly, maybe in another episode, you guys will be like, "This piece again."
No, but they wouldn't even know because it's so different. That middle part is
the thing is
different.
Is that so? I wanted to do the middle part, but then the way that the middle part ends and goes to the second rendition of the first part, it's like a build up, so I can't just like stop at the middle part, like at the end of the middle part. I have to go into the next part, the final part. And so when I was trying to record it, it was coming to like quite a bit of time rather than the 30-ish seconds that we want. But anyways, we'll get to that one day. I love it.
Well, so the reason why Ndego has chosen this particular piece for this episode is because it's not just because it's familiar to her, but it's because of the topic we want to discuss today, or at least one of the things we want to discuss today, which is the activity Ndego and I attended at the Royal Opera House a while ago. So we went and saw an opera called La Traviata.
Yeah,
I can't pronounce it.
Traviata.
Yeah, exactly.
Traviata. Yeah,
it's Italian. So and it was really, really beautiful. I think we should give you a little bit of background on that opera. Yeah. So it was done by Verdi.
Yeah.
Verdi is Italian, surely, no?
Yeah, it's. Yeah. Oh, I never know how to say this name. Giuseppe?
No, Giuseppe.
What?
Giuseppe. So it's Joseph. It's Joseph. So it's Joseph.
What?
Yeah, that's the Italian
version of
Joseph. So it's just Giuseppe.
Giuseppe.
Yeah. Giuseppe.
What? Say again?
Giuseppe.
Oh my God. Giuseppe.
No, just because I had a lecturer whose name was Giuseppe, that's why I know how to pronounce it. Yeah, it's not because I've learned any Italian or anything like that.
No, my mom is a pro at Latin, so any type of Latin-ish romantic sounding words, she'll know it.
Well, I don't think so. But anyway, so we saw that. So anyway, it's one of his most famous opera that he's done.
Yeah. He was very known for his operas.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And I think it was one thing that just kind of researching it and looking at it even before we went for the show, and even now before we started before we came for this podcast today, was that on the first time it was performed, Verdi considered it to be a failure because for whatever reason, I don't know, there was, it didn't go as well as he wanted it to go.
I think what history says is that, so there are 3 parts or 3 acts to it, and the first act, everyone, like the audience, welcomed it and they liked it a lot, but by the time the second act ended, they were not happy for whatever reason, and they just didn't enjoy it. And so he came back from that and said, this is a failure and da-da-da-da. But I mean, here we are now, and it's such a loved opera.
Yes.
To this day.
And yes, not only that, and in his lifetime as well, it became his most famous one, even in his lifetime. And today, according to what I read, it's one of the most performed operas around the world.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. Today. So it's one that I think the Royal Opera House in London, I don't know, they have it every year or something like that. I don't know.
Because I remember, I don't remember when we watched it, but then I remember 2024, I was seeing an advertisement saying, "Go watch La Traviata." Yeah. Again, and I was like, wow, these guys, like, they're not resting.
Yeah, they absolutely love it. Yeah. So it was really, really good. And maybe just a brief synopsis because we don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it before and maybe want to go see it. So we're not going to sort of be giving out spoilers or anything, but this synopsis you're going to be able to see it anywhere on the internet anyway. So we're not doing anything. I would say untoward, if I may say. Do you want to give the synopsis?
No, you
okay. Right. Okay. So it's basically about this lady who's obviously, I think maybe in today's parlance we'll call her a high society woman, you know, and
her name is Violetta.
Yes, Violetta, exactly. A high society woman, you know, who kind of independent, but of course you can imagine if today we still have a name for that type of woman. Imagine what it was in those days.
Yes.
You know, it was probably quite unusual, or not unusual, but it was remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
So so she meets this. She's basically she's been quite ill. She's got tuberculosis and she seems to be recovering a little bit. Then one of her admirers comes and meets her and he's a much younger person and is in love with her, but he's from a kind of a noble family, and associating with someone like Violetta. Yeah, Violetta will probably be frowned upon, you know, and so on. So anyway, this is the main thrust of the story, and it's really about their relationship and how it goes on and stuff like that. Initially, she's very reluctant because she knows the kind of family he's from.
Yeah.
She's very reluctant to have anything to do with him, but he's so earnest in his, you know, profession of admiration and love for her that eventually in Act 2 she ends up with him.
Yes.
But I think it's worth mentioning that at the end of Act 1 there is a libretto that was performed by Violetta herself, and it's called Sempre Libera, right?
Yeah. Well, any Italians listening, please correct us if we're wrong.
I know, right?
Is it Sempre
we're not Mandarin.
Libera or Libera or?
Yeah.
I should stop doing the accent. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But
but you know, it means in English always free, and you know, this is a woman, an independent woman, and you know, this guy wanting to be with her is, you know, she's like, no, I don't think you can be with me, so because I've always been free, you know, I've always lived free. And so you can imagine, you know, having these convictions, and then in Act 2 they end up together. But of course, there's always trouble. There's always trouble, and the trouble comes in the form of his family, you know, who are completely against the association.
Yes.
And yeah, but anyway, I don't think we should give any more because I think it was spoiling.
I really didn't want to talk about the ending, but
okay, yeah, you can.
No, I feel like we don't want to spoil, but all I'll say is I really, really liked how they ended it, even though it was quite a sad ending. And I think also the performance that we watched, it brought it even more to life. So actually, I don't think I did any research on the opera. So I was just like, you know, I just want to be surprised. I just want to see how it goes. And my mom had done the research. She had done the research, yes. And so, but yeah, the ending was really, really insane. But I think especially the performer who played Violetta was incredible, and I'm pretty sure I cried. Like her performance was just insane. I feel like I don't have the right words to describe it, but yeah.
Yeah, Ndego, you cried, and I was like rolling my eyes.
Okay.
She was good. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that lead performer.
Yeah.
So her name is Pretty Yende. So that's when we saw La Traviata at the Royal Opera House in London, and Pretty Yende is a soprano from South Africa.
Yes.
And you know, of course, there are not many, I would say, African opera singers that are kind of world known.
Yeah.
You know,
I think they're increasing, but very much in the minority still.
Yeah. And so just seeing Pretty Yende there was really a treat, I would imagine, for many people. And so for me, I think I want to talk about her voice first and foremost before her performance.
Okay.
Yeah, so she's a soprano, like I said. However, there's a quality to her voice that I really love. It's very, very clear.
Yeah.
It's like you can almost pick out the words that she's saying. It's so clear.
Yes.
So because sometimes some sopranos they're so high, and then it's just you can just hear their voice. Yes, yeah, exactly. And you can't really hear. But her voice is so clear. It feels like when a bell is tinkling. It's
I get what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, really clear, very, very light, I would say.
Yes, I felt it was also very open. I don't know that that's one word that I was thinking when I was hearing her voice. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, I won't dispute that at all. And so, but it was just really, really beautiful. I've seen quite a few of the operas in London, and usually everyone comes to it with something amazing, something unique, and stuff like that. But I just thought Pretty was really, 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 really good in terms of just her voice quality initially, and so on. Now, in terms of the performance, and so on. I mean, many people. If you are basically at the Royal Opera House, you have to be really good. So that's like it's axiomatic. I almost say, that you have to be pretty good, and I thought her performance was really, really moving, very emotional.
Yes.
I mean, I won't say emotional, but it's like you could feel.
Say.
Yeah, you could feel everything. You could see. Like, I mean, I was saying the first act when this guy is coming, and you could see that she's like, I'm not very well. I'm dying. You're a young guy. What do you want with me? But she's also flattered by the attention. So I said, but and she's singing "Always Free," the Sempre Libera, which, but you can see that in her, like from her performance, you're saying that, oh, if only things were different, that kind of stuff, and so on. So somehow she's able to convey, because I think the opera is in Italian.
Yes.
Generally. But even without you understanding Italian, you can understand exactly what she's projecting and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really good. And so I don't know, what did you think about her performance?
Well, I thought, I mean, I cried. So that says a lot. I think she was very convincing as an opera singer. I feel as though sometimes, you have singers who kind of just sing what they read. And it takes a lot more effort to actually put meaning behind the performance of whatever they're singing. And I think she did that perfectly. And I think I am not very I don't know a lot about before then I didn't know a lot about opera singing. I knew about classical singing, but operatic singing is a bit more different. Is a bit more than classical singing, and yes, I think it just blew me away and kind of set the standard for what operatic singing should be or should sound like. And I remember there's been times where I've seen like in maybe YouTube comments of different videos that they feel as though the quality of opera singing or operatic singing has diminished or decreased over the years, and it's hard to find opera singers who are able to really do it justice. And I think definitely Pretty Yende, she did that completely. It was really amazing.
So anyway, I would definitely, I think we will definitely recommend
100%.
La Traviata, and wherever Pretty Yende, you ever hear of Pretty Yende performing, I think you would
just run. Yes,
it's value for money for sure. It's definitely time well spent and money well spent. And so, one thing I did want to mention about the arts is that, if you look at life, if you're just waking up every day and getting up and doing stuff, life just feels linear, and the days just kind of go by. So you just wake up, do everything, that you go to work, you come back, you eat, you maybe watch TV. But when you go for things like this, when you go for things like this, what it does for you is that it makes life more secular, and therefore, at every point in time, you can look back and say, oh, we did this. So, I mean, it's been a while. Ndego and I went and saw this opera, but we still look back at it and like, that was something that we can look back at. So life is not just linear, like, oh, what happened yesterday? Many people will have forgotten what happened yesterday, and stuff like that. But you need this kind of little moments. And the good thing, I don't know what part of the world you live, but wherever you are, I hope that you're able to access things like this. And I mean, we live in the UK, and we live about an hour away from London.
And we're very fortunate.
Yeah, we are quite fortunate. So we just take the train in. And in London, again, it's also very accessible in terms of the cost of going to see things like this. It's not like prohibitive, and stuff like that. But you just need to plan. You need to plan, kind of, put it within your idea of living a fuller life, if you see what I'm saying. So, you need that cultural formation as well, just to have a more robust life.
Yeah.
Cultural formation. Yeah, you too.
Wow.
Serious. It is very important. I mean, that's why I insisted that all of you learn how to play instruments, because you need, it's not just about going to school. You need to do other things as well.
Yes, and like you and my dad, you guys gave us a lot to do as children, because we played instruments. We were also doing activities. We were like doing martial arts as well, and people were doing football, and I was doing ballet, and I think it has kind of shaped us, and how we kind of view life, and how we interact with recreational events and activities. And I think it's really important that you go out and do things, because and also build, and you're able to build a community when you do that as well. Because even let's say me and my mom, we go to these events, it's just us, but then I was talking to my cousin, and she's never really been someone who has gone out to see like musicals and stuff, but she went recently, and we had so much to talk about. I think she went to see like 2 musicals, and we were able to talk, and it just brings a lot of people together. So I just think it's so important.
Absolutely. That's the whole idea. You need to be well-rounded.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. So like we said, generally we are doing this within the context of the business, which I founded a few years ago, Epara, and the reason is that Ndego and I, we do a lot of things together. We do fun things, but we also do serious things. And one of the things that we do, I mean, most of her,
I'm scared.
most of her summer internship, she's done it with my company.
Yeah,
she's been a bit naughty, I have to say. Don't worry, I'll put you on blast, but you're quite naughty. However, I still made her do it, because I felt it was good experience for her, and also it's a thing for us that we're doing together, right?
Yes.
And so on. So this is all kind of all part of, shall I say, the reason why we started this Notes to My Daughter podcast, and stuff like that.
I was really scared as to what you were going to say.
I will put you on blast.
Oh,
I will put you on blast. You can live it down.
Okay. I will never live it down. Every time she talks to someone, she'll bring it up.
Yeah. No.
Yes.
I say nice things about you too. I say nice things about you.
Okay.
Well, I have to say, like, the things you haven't done very well, which was being a naughty intern was one of them.
She always brings up the fact that my younger brother, he was like, oh, can I do an internship? And then my mom was like, no. And then he was like, I won't be as naughty as Ndego. And I was like, and she always brings that up. Like, I'm pretty sure I've heard that story like
but it
5,
made me laugh.
6 times. And it happened, what, last year?
Well, it made me laugh because when I said to him, I said, no, I don't want any more interns. Ndego stressed me out the last time. I said, Mom, don't worry, I won't be as naughty as Ndego.
Yeah,
and when he came, he did really well. So yeah, so
Anyway.
Ndego's trying to make up for it now. So so she's forgiven.
I'm putting in the work.
Yes, that's true. That's true. So and she does she's helping us with the TikTok, which I have no clue about. So Ndego is doing that bit and stuff like that. So and many of like the podcast she's editing it, and stuff. So thank you very much, Ndego, for being a lovely daughter.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So talking about Pretty Yende, brought to mind one of our products. So I want to talk about the balancing face oil because I don't know, for people who don't know my business, but the core thrust of the business is the fact that we use African botanicals.
Yeah.
They make almost of the ingredients in the products, and what we've done is to unlock the efficaciousness of this botanicals that our forebears have used for so many centuries, right, and stuff like that, and also bring out the scientific rationale for why they work. Usually I remember when we were growing up, my grandmother would say, "Oh, use this oil." And you're like, why? She's like, oh, it's really, really good. But you don't know why it's really, really good, and stuff.
And it would be good.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't know exactly. And so what Epara has done is to say, okay, there's this oil. Okay, what does it do? How good is it? What is the right combination to make it, to bring out its best? Yes, the best efficacy that it could have, right? And so that's basically what Epara is. But what we've done is that we've done it in a very well considered manner, and it looks really, really beautiful. We'll put a link to the podcast notes and to the YouTube videos, just so that if you want to have a look at it, you can see it. And so talking about Pretty Yende today, kind of brought to mind this balancing face oil because in it we've got an oil that we have sourced out of South Africa called marula oil. And this marula oil is a very, very beautiful oil, very light, and also very highly effective because it doesn't just sit on the skin, it penetrates, and it's very healing. So many South Africans really are very proud of it. They love it a lot, and so on. So we've been able to, and it's very light, if you need to see, like, it's not a heavy oil that clogs up the skin pores and then starts to give you acne or whatever. But it's really good. So when I was thinking about Pretty Yende, and I was like, I was thinking Ndego. Actually, when I was thinking about her voice, it kind of reminds me of the marula oil as well, and stuff like that. So that was kind of why I was like, I think it will be a good one to talk about.
Yes.
So this is a very so what we found is that in different geographies where we sell Epara, different people have different things that they like the most.
Yeah.
So right here in the UK, we find that the balancing face oil is actually quite popular.
Okay.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, that is the one that my Caucasian customers like the most, the balancing face oil. And so, I mean, I've used it today and stuff like that. So when I feel I'm feeling like my skin is a bit stressed out, which I think it is at the moment, I use it.
So it's like a soothing.
Yes, it's soothing, but it also kind of calms down the skin and stuff like that. Because I have the eczema flare ups from time to time because you can't cure eczema, you can only manage it. So I have the flare ups and stuff. So when I feel like my skin's a bit stressed, I use it. I use it quite a bit and so on. So that is like the product that we want to talk about today. But what will I say? I mean, for me, what will be the key message that that I really want to pull out from this conversation is really about the fact that you shouldn't give up on your dreams too easily, I would say. And even when things haven't gone well, e.g. with Verdi and La Traviata, you know, you don't give up, because you just never know what's around the corner.
Right.
You know, and stuff like that. So for me, I think that's a very important lesson that I took away from
just even like researching again, or like reminding ourselves about the opera.
Yeah, exactly, and stuff. So for me, that's like always very. It's something that I think is very valuable.
Right.
Yeah, because it's quite easy, actually, when things are not going well, to just like give up.
Yeah, just cast it to the side.
Yeah, exactly. So so like, e.g. my lovely daughter here, even though she was naughty at the internship, now she's still working with me, and she's doing really well.
How she brings it up again and again. She said she wasn't gonna put me on blast, but here we are.
Yeah, no, you're not blasting. I didn't tell her what you did in Ndego. I just said you were naughty.
Well, people can use their imagination.
Exactly. Right? Okay, but yes, well, you've been very good. You've been very good. So I didn't give up on you. So I know you're doing the best. So anyway.
Okay. Well, yeah.
So anyway, that brings us to the end of this episode of Notes to My Daughter. Please share it with your friends. Like the episode, subscribe to the channels, download it on the podcast platforms.
Did you get
and
everything?
Support us.
Yes, support us, please. I was wondering, are you going to say everything that needs to be said?
But okay. Did I say everything?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Okay, well, brilliant.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.